Why is AI art the right choice? Give me some examples from your projects.
It's a box of worms. And I'm going to interpret that as being, when is it appropriate to use AI art rather than why, perhaps. I'm going to preface by saying that I prefer to use human artists where possible, but there are circumstances and there are market pressures and there are problems and other considerations that are making AI art a lot more tempting than perhaps it should be. So money can be an issue. RPGs are low margin anyway, and art is one of the big outlays, especially if you're doing the writing, layout and everything else yourself, like a lot of people are. Art is the one thing you have to go to other people for. And there is a thriving stock art industry around tabletop games. I sell a lot of Brad McDevitt's art through my company. So that's worth consideration, I think. But the trouble with stock art is that lots of other people can use it, and so certain pieces become rather familiar throughout a lot of indie games, and it can end up looking cheap. Probably shouldn't say that since I sell stock art, but there's that. But even stock art can't really compete in terms of value for money with AI art. So yeah, if you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of money to throw around, yeah, if you pay for a month's subscription to Midjourney or something, or you host OpenAI on your own server or something, and you train it with the kind of art that you like, you know, then that's probably still going to be cheaper than either hiring people or buying a bunch of stock art, assuming you already have the hardware. So there's that. And even if you're a slightly bigger indie creator, then having access to AI art can make it economical for you to do something more experimental and weird, and also have it be presentable. There are a lot of scratchers out there whose work, frankly, isn't better than AI, though any artist worth their salt is going to be more consistent and better than AI. But again, if you're at the lower sort of budgetary end of things, then it can, you can't afford to hire the good people necessarily. So that's one side of it. Another thing that's going on is that a lot of Kickstarters are really distorting the market for artists and pushing the price up quite rapidly. Same for writers, and I say that as a writer, a lot of these Kickstarters and other crowdfunders that raise way too much money then pay well above market rate for people, and so they tend to suck out all the best value for money artists from the market and allow them to charge a lot more for their work, which is good. I'm happy to see them succeeding, but it does create unrealistic expectations and prices a lot of people out of the market for a lot of small indie creators. So there's that. There's also a lot of scam artists out there who are abusing AI or just out plain and outright stealing other people's art. And that's not good. And so if you don't want to deal with the hassle of doing an open call or trying to find an artist who's actually a genuine person or is faking stuff using AI, then you might as well cut out the middleman and just use AI straight off the bat, right? That's a sad state of affairs, and it's relatively new, but it is really a problem. My Twitter DMs are full of fake accounts trying to get me to commission art because I have commissioned art in the past, and it is relentless. It's worse than porn bots, and some of it's quite elaborate scams. And it's gotten to the point where somehow a lot of them are tracking down my Discord and joining it and keeping up the masquerade for a while until we figure out what's going on and have to ban them. But it is relentless, and ain't nobody got time for that, right? That's a problem. Sometimes artists let you down, and you have a deadline. The book has to be out. And so, you've got these big empty gaps that maybe you can fill with stock art, if it's something that someone has done. More often, though, you have very specific needs, and if an artist let you down, you need something for that gap in the book. File not found is not going to cut it, really. So, in order to get the book out on time, maybe you need to grab some AI art and put that in there. Sometimes AI art with all its peculiarities is the right aesthetic choice. So, for example, for my Cyborg supplement, much of the art in that is produced by AI, and I did that on purpose because Cyborg is meant to be set in a simulation, and so weird buggy mutations like too many fingers, too many arms, weirdly distorted perspective, and artifacts, which were more common earlier during AI art, was completely in keeping with the genre and what I was going for. So AI art was entirely appropriate in that situation. But that's going to be a rare situation, I expect, for a lot of people. Elf King aims for a kind of 1970s fantasy art look, sort of Roger Dean, John Blanche sort of thing, and they use AI art very effectively to produce a style that is very out of fashion and isn't really made anymore. So that is an example of when AI art can be used when you have a very particular need that you can't get fulfilled from the market as it exists today, right? So AI art can be good for that. But it's controversial, and it will cost you sales to an extent, and it will cause problems with bad press to an extent. I think that's largely unfair and unfounded. I didn't want to be a writer originally. I wanted to be a lumberjack. I wanted to be an artist. I went to art school. I'm an art school dropout. It's the classic thing. And, we spent a lot of time copying and imitating other people's styles, learning the styles at various steps in my art education. This week we're doing a Cubist project. This week we're doing an Impressionist project, And that's really not so different to what AI does by processing other images. It's more bald and brutalistic that is what is going on. But yeah, I prefer human artists. I would rather pay human artists. I do pay human artists, but sometimes the margins are too slim. You've got expenses. I have house repairs going on. I need money, or it fits the aesthetic, or someone lets you down, or hiring anyone has become a massive ball ache. So in all of these are all contributing factors in the problem. I'm primarily a writer these days. AI is intruding on my work as well. That sucks, but I understand why at the same time.